Okay, thank you very much, Matt. So no audio. This is me failing in public. So I propose that we start again from the beginning of the presentation. Okay. So yeah, thank you very much, Matt, for sharing. I forgot to unmute myself in the in Rostream Studio. So hopefully you are still there, and thank you very much for the feedback, Matt. So let's go back. So as I said earlier, so Storytap is really you set the stage, then you set the stage. So this is the first step. Okay. Then after you trigger a need, you offer a solution, you reveal obstacle, you eliminate the path. T as transformation, A as call to action, and P as impact. And this is, let's say, an inspiration from Dan Harmon's story circle. So this is the first one. And the second one is, let's say, the therefore but from South Park creators. Okay, so Storytap deep dive. So this is what we will be doing today. So we will go deep dive on each step. And the first step is you set the stage. So you have to hook your audience instantly. You have to make it relevant to them. How you do that? So you have to set the stage. You have to grab the attention of your audience immediately. So this is really very important. Knowing that today, for example, people have like 8 seconds of attention. So it's like attention is the new currency. So you can tell a story. You can tell a story. You can ask a provoking question. You can really you have to make sure that in the first 30 seconds, not like what I did just before, not checking that I have my mic. Yeah, thank you very much, Matt, for being here and for thank you very much. Yeah, so you have to set the stage. This is really something that is really very important. You have to grab the attention. So tell a story, ask a provoking question. Those are the things that you can do. There are many things also that you can do to grab the attention of your audience, but you have also to connect the topic to your audience needs. So it's very important to know your audience, to know what are their pain points they are facing today, and how you can help them solve those problems, and how your story that you are about to tell will, let's say, highlight those problems first, and then after show the way to solve those problems. And using really the therefore but from South Park is really interesting, because you give the context and you say therefore, you connect it to a bigger picture, and but you add kind of obstacle and conflict or misdirection. So this is really something that is really very important. So here you have set the stage. Then after, the next step is to trigger a need. So let's say, like in Lord of the Rings, you are on the Middle Earth. You give the description of the Middle Earth, and then you introduce the main character, which is Frodo. And now you say, okay, Frodo, you have to go and destroy the ring. So this is really so this is how you trigger the need. There is a need, for example, to destroy the ring. So this is when you are telling your story. This is really where you say, okay, how can I identify the problem very quickly, and then create urgency. It's really important to create urgency when you are telling your stories, because it is a way to engage your audience and to tell them, okay, you have to listen to me, because what I'm about to share with you is really very important, and we will go on this journey together. So it's really important to compare the audience into attention and action. You clearly need to define the issue. For example, in Lord of the Rings, it's really simple. Frodo has to destroy the ring and have to go and put the ring in the mountain and the volcano. So this is really a very clear objective. You have to clearly define the need in the issue, and then after this will help you set the stage. So the first step is you set the stage, then after you trigger a need, and after that, what you do is you offer a solution. This is more, let's say, you give the why. You don't go into the details of the solution that you are talking about. In a TED talk, for example, this is where you would introduce your big idea, make it simple and memorable. I think if you watch TED talks, there is always that moment where, let's say, the speaker give you, let's say, why, what are their solution about solving an issue in the world. Okay, how you do that when you want to say offer a solution? So you have the central idea that you want to share. So really here you have to kind of be at high level. You don't go into the what. Sorry, don't go into the how. The how will be, let's say, in illuminate the path, which will be then step number 5. And really you have to distinguishing your solution from implementation. This is really important. Then really ensuring that your message is really straightforward. Don't try to complicate it. Just say, okay, this is what my service will do for you. This is, let's say, I have initially in the first step, I have set the stage. We can take also an example of a customer journey. I have set the stage. I have described your world. In trigger the need, I have identified your pain points. And in the third step, this is where I can offer you a solution to solve those pain points. And here it's really important to connect it to the next step, which is the step number 4, which is reveal obstacles. Reveal obstacle is really interesting because there is no story without conflict. Imagine that you are sitting in the beach and you are, let's say, watching the sea or the ocean, and it's really flat. There is no wave. You will watch it, let's say, maybe 2 or 3 or 5 minutes, then after you are bored. So really, it's important to create conflict, because conflict is, let's say, if like rising up to the crest of the wave, and then you give context, and then you go back to the trough of the wave. And through all your story, you have to create waves of conflict and then context to solve the conflict. And if you see it as a circle, so you have your conflict here, which is an open loop, and then you have the context, which will close the loop. So this is really something that is very important. And how you can do that in your storytelling journey. So in the previous step, you have presented, let's say, the solution in a very, very high level. Okay. So you have presented the solution in a very high level, and you connect it with, let's say this is my solution, but, so using the therefore but from South Park, but there are some obstacles, but there are some challenges that will be that my problem, my solution will have to face if it is a project. For example, say we want to implement this solution, but I know that we will have budget constraint. I know that we will not be able to embark all the stakeholders. So it's really important in Frodo. Okay, he's on his journey, but then after you have Sauron, you have all the bad guys. So this is where you say, okay, I know that there are some. Sorry, I think I went too far in my presentation. So reveal obstacles. I come back a little bit. So here is really where you present the solution before, and then you acknowledge challenges. Acknowledging challenges is also a way to create conflict. To say that, okay, my solution is not something only magical. I don't have a magic wand, and then after I will solve everything. I acknowledge that there'll be some obstacles, and obstacles will create conflict, and conflict will make your story more authentic. It will make it more relatable. So it's really important that you acknowledge, let's say, that there are some obstacles, and those obstacles will create tension, will create conflict, and it will really deepen the investment of your audience, because each time you have an obstacle, you have an anti-hero in your story, you are creating a conflict, and a conflict is an open loop, because then after you are, let's say, creating a curiosity loop where your audience want to know how the hero will, let's say, manage that obstacle, will face that challenge, and how the hero will overcome that challenge. It's really important in revealing the obstacle. Don't shy away if it is a personal story to really share, let's say, the challenges that you are facing, because it shows also authenticity, and it will show also your vulnerability. It's really something that is really very important. Then after, once you have, let's say, in the step 3, you have offered the solution. In the step 4, before you have acknowledged, let's say, the obstacles. So here is really the how. This is where you will show, don't tell. It is really where you will, let's say, break down your solution into small steps that the audience can understand. If it is a story, you say, okay, first I will have to recruit a team of companions that will accompany Frodo. And then after you say, okay, now Frodo will be on this journey. He will go here, 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 and here in order to be able to solve the challenge he's facing. So this is really something that is important. If, for example, it's about a product, so this is really where you can also share, let's say, your user-generated content, where you share, let's say, some people who have been there and for whom you have solved, let's say, the pain points. And you can tell also some stories here. You can have some testimonies from people who already use your product, and those people can be the voice to say, okay, I had this pain point before, and by using, let's for example, if it is a product or service, using a product or service from Mad, I was able to solve my pain points. I implemented this, and that. And it's also for you a social proof showing that really your solution worked, and you have the voice of your customers that are attesting that your solution is really working. Okay, so this is where you illuminate the path. So you have presented the solution. You have presented the solution. Okay, you have connected with therefore, but it's really something important, because therefore there are some obstacles, but here are the practical steps that will help you really overcome the challenge that you have. And then, you can use real life examples. So if you have, for example, testimonials, it's a way to increase your social proof. Customers who can testify about how your products have solved their pain points. I don't like really the word problem, because it's really vague. I like when I say, okay, your product, you should identify the pain point of your ideal customer, and then after, your solution should and must solve those pain points. And this is really where, in this illuminate the path, you give the step-by-step guide, like you are like Gandalf for Frodo, and you are guiding, let's say, your audience. They are working with you. You are illuminating the path step by step to show them how to overcome the pain points that you have listed before. Something really that is interesting and important. Then after, in every story, as I think I talked about it last time, I will talk about it again here. There is no story if there is no conflict, and there is no change. And change comes through transformation. So there must be a before and after of your story. There are some frameworks in 3 steps: before, after, a bridge. But transformation is something that is necessary in every story. If there is no transformation, there is no change, there is no story. If there is, in order to have change, you need to have some conflict and challenges that, let's say, your solution can solve, so that your customer will be transformed by using your products, because you have identified their pain points, and your solution is what will solve their pain points, is what will transform them from, let's say, I don't know, someone who was not eating healthy, and then after, you have a product or service that you provide that will make them, let's say, be healthier, eating more healthy, so that they can be transformed. So transformation is really one of the key ingredients of storytelling. If there is no transformation, there is no storytelling. You have to really, in the transformation step, you have to be to paint a vision. Painting a vision, sometimes you can also hear like the word future pacing. Future pacing is, let's say, for example, you have a product, you describe a future where your ideal customer is using your product and how their life is transformed. So this is really something important. So really, future pacing is like let's say I don't know how to say it in English, but it's more like you go with your customer in the future, and you depict the future, so that really they feel like, okay, they are already there. And by making that mental journey, it really helps them to adopt also your product. And if it is a store, it helps them really to to see the same vision that you have of the future, where, let's say, for example, your big idea has solved, let's say, the pain points. So this is really something important. You also have to describe, use emotions, because I like the saying which says, okay, we take decisions by emotions, and then after we rationalize them by reason. So in every story, it's important that you share emotions, you have a vivid depiction of the future, how your customer will feel, what will they smell, let's say the environment, the touch. You really have to use all the five senses in your story of transformation to really depict a very nice, let's say, feature. So this is really something that is really very important. And here also is a way for you to share success stories also, like people who have been transformed thanks to your story. So this is really something really very important that you can do also on top of applying to emotions. So we are almost there. Once, let's say, you have paint a picture of the future, you are telling a story for something because you need your audience, your customers, those who are listening to your story, to take action. So you have really to make a clear request, and you have to instill urgency, because you are telling a story because you want them to act now, you want them to buy now. It's like when I go to Amazon, each time it's really very easy to click on a product and add to my basket, and then in one click I can pay, and then after the product it will be delivered. But they make it really very easy for me to take action. So in the product and services that you are providing, once you have told your story of the customer journey, it's really very important also to make sure that you are putting a very clear, simple call to action, and make it urgent, meaning that you have to say, okay, why they should, let's say, what should they do after they have heard your story. So maybe your call of action will be a change in behavior. For example, if your product is about, let's say, eating more healthy or being a minimalist, what are you asking from your audience? Maybe it's a commitment to a cause. You tell a story of a young kid from an NGO and you want, let's say, your audience to contribute, to donate to your cause. So this is where you tell them, okay, you can make a difference now by donating only €1. So we have euros in Europe. So basically, really commitment to cause. Maybe it's also a shift in thinking. About that, I'm thinking, for example, a documentary on Netflix about consumerism, and then at the beginning of the documentary, they clearly say, okay, we have to shift the thinking about how we consume all of that. So really, your story need to have a purpose, a clear and simple purpose, and that in the call to action, this is really where you have to give them next steps. What should they do after they have heard your story? So it's really also important to instill urgency, because they have to do it now. If not, why are you telling your story? So this is something that you have to keep in mind, and really you have to empower and motivate your audience. So normally with all the steps before, by providing your solution, by sharing the obstacles, by sharing the different steps and illuminate the path that they can take to achieve, let's say, success and transformation. Now here it should be really very easy to tell them, okay, now it's your turn. We have worked together this path up to here. You know the path. Now it's your turn to be the hero in this new story, starting from here. So this is really something which is very, very, very important. Okay, then after, once you have told them the call to action, the P is impact. So meaning that what do you want them to take away? What is your takeaway message? What is the message that they should bring home? So this is where you will end in a very high note. Okay, so you can do a bigger call to action, something that you can do. You can also maybe re-emphasize, let's say, by sharing some personal stories. And really, the importance is also here to invite, let's say, your audience to connect with you. Maybe after you tell the story, you will have a Q&A session, all of that. But you see this really want where you emphasize your takeaway message. So this is really something that is really important. And how you can do that, there are many things that you can do to that. You can maybe summarize again the key takeaways. You can share a memorable story that you want your audience to take away at home. You can make maybe a final call to action: donate now, make a difference. For example, if it's about an NGO, you can ask a thought-provoking question. For example, I don't know, you can, if you are talking about, I say, Lord of the Rings, and you can ask them, okay, what would you do if you were Frodo at the top of the mountain and you have the ring and nobody's watching, for example? This is a very thought-provoking question. And as always, it's really important to keep action, let's say, to understand your audience feelings and what do you want them to feel. That's why it's really important to talk about, let's say, emotions, because those are, let's say, the driving forces of human behavior. And that's it today for this deep dive of the Storytap framework. Thank you very much, Matt, for being here with me, for helping me solve the audio issue. And maybe my call to action. First, I will share the next episode that I will do within 2 or 3 weeks on this series about Storytap. The next, let's say, session will be about how we can use the Storytap framework, because it's a very flexible framework, how we can use it for self-reflection. Because at the end, many storytelling frameworks is about telling stories to other people. But that's also only half of, let's say, the story, if I could, pun intended. The other half is all the stories that we have in our head that we are telling about ourselves. So how can we use, let's say, a storytelling framework to work on ourselves, to work on the stories we tell ourselves, and how we can use storytelling framework, Storytap, to be able to do self-reflection. So this is really something that is really interesting. So make sure to tune in on my YouTube channel or on LinkedIn, because I will be, let's say, sharing that in the next session. And then after, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Here you have the QR code, you can scan it, and I will be sharing, let's say, this video that we are doing today, and also the deck of slides that I have shared here in this presentation, so that you can have it, you can apply it, because my intention is that all of us, we have important stories to tell, and those stories can make a difference in our lives, in the lives of our loved ones, in the lives of our communities. And let's say, in a very disconnected world where we live today, we are in a very polarized world, I will be able to say it. It's really important that we share our stories, we connect to each other. So make sure also to follow me on Substck, where I will be sharing, let's say, all the Storytap framework that I'm sharing here with you. So that's it for me today. Thank you very much for joining this session, for those who are here live on YouTube and on LinkedIn. If you are watching this on replay, you can hit the like button if you like this session. You can ask some questions, maybe how you are using the Storytap framework. Is it something simple to use? Is it something that you will tweak for different, let's say, storytelling activities? It can be, for example, a customer journey. It can be self-reflection. It can be writing fiction, for example. And all those frameworks I will share in the coming sessions. So thank you very much again for being with me today in this half an hour session. It was more than enough to mess up at the beginning and then after course correct. So this is also the challenge of building in public. Thank you very much for being here with me. I wish you a very nice happening wherever you are in the world, wherever is the moment when you are watching this video. And until then, keep telling your story. See you next time. Thank you. Bye.